Welcome to another exciting episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I am Bryce Runge.
You know, it's hot outside.
Dude, it's pretty darn hot.
I mean, it is way too early for high 90 degree temperature.
This week it's supposed to be like high 90s all week.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like, geez.
Yeah. How about that storm last night, though?
I don't know. I slept right through it.
Are you serious?
Like a rock. I mean, I was out like a light, baby.
Oh, not me. Not me. Two-year-old who's devastated of the lightning and the thunder and the rain and the hail. We got some hail.
Yeah?
Oh, my gosh.
So when she was afraid, how did you talk to her? Did you tell her, oh, it's nothing to worry about, don't be afraid, it's just a lot of noise?
Being that I was exhausted, I probably didn't handle it correctly.
I'm just asking. I don't know that there's a wrong way. I'm just asking.
You know, I would go in there and I put pillows up against the blinds in the window to kind of close it a little bit. I'll and block it. And then I'd lay next to her. Can you lay next to me? I'm like, yeah, I'll lay next to you for a little bit. And then it's like, okay, I think we're good. You know, because it would hit us and then it would like take a break. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, perfect. It's time for me to go. You close your eyes. You go to sleep. Go to bed. Here comes the storm again. It was like all night. Well, what she does is she gets up and she'll turn the light on. She's been doing that. She'll get up, flip the light, and the next thing you know, she's reading a book on the floor. And it's like, oh, no. We're not doing this. So that happened last night like 3 times too.
Oh, boy.
And so I'm like, you can't do this. You have to stay in bed. And it's like we try and manipulate our kids like, well, we're not getting donuts in the morning or whatever tactics, right? Just to come on, it's so late. I'm exhausted. And so she flipped her light on again, and I went in there, and she knew because she's like, no, don't spank my bottom. And she got in bed. I'm like, I'm not going to spank your bottom. Get in bed. I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take your light bulbs out. So you can go ahead and flip that switch all you want. And I straight up stood on her bed, and I took her light bulbs out of the fan light. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I walked out with the light bulbs in my pocket, and I shut the door, and I hear her get out of bed, and I go to she goes to the light switch, and I hear her flipping it, flipping it, and then I'm like, I start giggling, you know, and she's like, what happened? It doesn't work. And I open the door, I'm like, because I took the light bulbs out, now get in bed. But yeah, she was up all night, poor thing, and then the baby, she sleeps like a rock like you.
Yay.
2 things in common there.
Yes.
Being a baby.
No. Smarty pants.
What are we talking about today, Rod?
The reason why I asked you how you responded to her fears was something that kind of caught my eye. I was reading an article, and the lady was talking about how sometimes, it's human nature to, when you see somebody feeling bad, to try and help them, whether, whatever it might be. And I keep thinking, we as teachers, well, it's not so bad. Oh, well, just toughen up. Oh, well, let's look on the bright side of things. And this lady was saying, her name is Tiana Luna, and she does a podcast titled Talk Psych to Me. And she's a teacher, she's a researcher, she's done some TED. And anyway, she was quoting or basically reciting some stuff that had come in a book titled Toxic Positivity by a lady by the name of Whitney Goldman. And so I want to start with a quiz. Okay?
You're going to quiz me?
I'm going to quiz you. And you just tell me, you just answer yes or no. It's not real hard. Okay. So let's see. When you feel unpleasant emotions like sadness or fear, Do you quickly force yourself to cheer up or notice the bright side?
Lately, it's been not to try and channel the positivity. It's like been like, oh, woe is me kind of lately.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
You answered it. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough.
Did I pass?
I don't know. There's 3 more to go.
Okay.
If you are dissatisfied with something in your life, do you feel guilty for being insufficiently grateful for actually what you have?
So, ungrateful?
Well, do you go, stop? You actually have a lot of positive things going in your life. So stop focusing on the negative and focus on the positive. Do you talk to yourself that way?
Yeah, I would agree with that because, yeah, I try and cultivate the an attitude of gratitude.
Okay.
Especially when, if it's a cruddy day,
Okay.
hey, why don't you focus on all that you get to do and all that you do have? So I do. It's not always easy.
Okay. Yeah, I can. Yes.
I'm not going to go into that anymore. I think I answered your question.
Okay,
Now.
sure.
I want you to get to your third one. This
Okay.
must be the hardest.
Okay. When people you care about are down or upset, do you try to cheer them up even if you haven't been asked to do that?
Yes, but I try and do so mindfully, not like all cheerleader, rah, rah, kind of like all this Pollyanna. Not that. I try and be mindful. First of all, I've listened to the person, what they're going through. Mm-hmm. How could I put a spin on this, if you will, that doesn't come out like, oh, everything's rainbows and Skittles and right. So yeah, I do.
Okay.
But then also, if you really pay attention and listen, and I think which we've gotten better at, was that, hey, maybe this isn't I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to answer yes.
Okay. Very good.
Sorry,
No, it was a yes/no question. So,
Oh,
you did good. And I said, you said, is that it? And I said, no, there's 3 more.
oh.
So there's total of 4. So the last one, it's real. No.
Okay.
Do you tend to say things like, everything happens for a reason? Or try to find the positive? Or at least it's not as bad as it could be? Or some other variation of any of those as a way to help others feel better? You want to elaborate? Go ahead and elaborate. We're not in the courtroom.
I think the answer is hearsay. Sorry, I've watched the Johnny Depp thing too much. Yes and no is my answer. Depends on the circumstance. Depends on the person, the situation. If someone just lost a loved one, I'm not going to say, well, everything happens for a reason. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do that.
Would you say you do more yes or more no?
I would say number 3, neutral. I'm in the middle.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what they say, the answer key.
Okay.
If you answered yes to any of those 4 questions, you may have fallen prey unknowingly to the what they call the pervasive phenomenon known as toxic positivity.
Oh.
So this lady, there's this doctor, she's a psychotherapist, this Whitney Goldman, and she wrote a book titled Toxic Positivity, where she defines toxic positivity as an unrelenting pressure to be happy all the time, no matter the circumstance, and particularly in our deepest moments of struggle. And so I'm thinking about that, and I go, okay, when I'm talking to the students, when I'm talking to various people, because you and I get the opportunity to talk to people in all kinds of levels of situations.
Right.
And, you talk to them and you're trying to, well, okay, I hear you, but is there a way we can turn that frown upside down?
Right.
Kind of mentality. And they were saying that, emotions, such as joy or love or gratitude, these are healthy and important mental states that we all need to have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But they go on to say that there doesn't seem to be any research that suggests or proves that we can overdo it on the good feelings or on the feel-good feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But that sometimes if you go too far, that positivity can turn toxic when we use it to suppress feelings or to avoid any underlying emotions.
Oh, okay.
And so they're saying if you push, just, don't feel so bad. Oh, you're just crying over spilt milk, or some other kind of issue. They're saying that you can create what the Goodman ladies was saying with a positivity mask, where you push it's not so bad kind of thing, to the point that people around you feel that they can't. Not only you do it to yourself and you project it onto others, so that way it's kind of like you yourself are afraid to feel the negative emotions,
right?
And the people that you're talking to or engaging with, well, you're not encouraging or allowing them to kind of fully develop all of their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And so in doing so, you're kind of having the long-term, the opposite effect.
Right. Well, many good things from our podcast, but this is one of them right here, right? Educating, equipping others to thrive in their relationships, in their family dynamics, in work, wherever. Because here's the deal. I just think a lot of people don't know. And so their initial response is what you just went over. So what you and I have learned over the past decade, especially when it comes to grief.
Yeah.
Like, and by listening, because really people want to know that you care and just to be in their corner and listen to them. They don't want you to try and fix anything at that moment or in general, but they just want you to know that you care. And so I see where you're coming from and why she's saying this, because I think, when you have experienced loss or you have friends or families who have lost someone, what's the first thing people say?
For me, it's going to get better. And they, after Eric died, it was a lot of, feel good kind of things. Well, you'll make it through. God only gives you things that, you can handle, and,
right.
Things like platitudes.
Yeah.
And it really bothered me because I felt like it was tough for me to be able to face all the horrible things that I was facing. Now, lucky for me, I had the divorce group and I had my therapist. So I did have outlets. But, you think about it, well, men don't cry.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're crying, which is a necessary component to feeling and, releasing those emotions. The idea, well, men don't cry. John Wayne never cried.
You're weak if you're a man and cry.
Exactly.
Right.
And while you can say that, and maybe in some cases there may be truth to that, at the same time, for your emotional health, you have to face those issues. And so, I mean, as a parent to little children, I think it's easy to say, oh, it's just dust yourself off. Oh, no blood, no foul. But by the time, we get the kids to your middle school, my high school, well, now you need more than platitudes. And I think that it's one of the things we do as teachers is listen. Because I think that to help them process the multitudes of emotions, the fantastic highs and elations of joy and happiness and success to the absolute lows of depression, failures, or feelings of failure, and all these other negative components, the fear of, well, I'm afraid, which we've talked about before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so instead of kind of band-aiding them and say, well, hey, look, they're okay, so you just got dumped. Well, you know what? There's more fish in the sea. Just because they didn't see your value doesn't mean you don't have value. You know what? Let's just go out there and, try again.
Right.
Hey, you're only 14. You're only 16. You know what? You didn't find your forever mate when you're this young.
Right.
Well, okay, while there is probably a fair amount of truth in that statement.
To the end, the world just ended.
Exactly.
Well, and I asked you that question, and I'll add to that my original question. How many times, or you don't even need to answer how many, but how often did you hear, I'm sorry for your loss? Or have you used that? Like,
yes.
That's it. What I'm saying, where I'm going with this, it's because people don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. And so again, why we're on this, to try and equip people. I've heard it, with Suzanne's mom, a lot of people, I'm sorry for your loss. And so what we've learned is that that's just human nature's initial response, because they don't know
what to say.
And so, not that people get offended. It's just kind of, yeah, thanks. But you don't need to apologize because you didn't do anything. But that's people's, just their initial response because they don't know. And so it's surface level. And again, going back to, you just don't know what you don't know. And again, a lot of people they want to be heard. They're not asking you to fix it. They just want you to listen. And it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to go through a time of sadness. It's okay to experience that.
Yes.
And I get where this is going, with what you're talking about, because at that moment, that would be the worst thing for anyone to say. If you just lost someone, whatever, fill in the blank response, like, no, that's not what you should say.
Well,
and it's okay to experience, because a part of grief is experiencing all those. I know we've talked about this before, and it's a circle of grief, and it's going to happen in random times, and it could be for a period of time. You just don't know, but that person has the right to grieve and experience those moments of sadness or depression or anger.
No, absolutely.
So,
and that's kind of what I think this lady was trying to get through.
Yeah.
Was, because they even have in this article, they say why we do it. Well, we feel uncomfortable when somebody else is feeling down. So we want to try and help lift them up because of our uncomfortableness with their negative emotions.
right.
And so we want to fix it. And as a guy, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel as a guy, I try too hard. You want to vent, and I let you vent, but in the process of you venting, I feel like I want to charge in and save the day. And I don't, and so as I was reading this originally, I'm going, okay, maybe I need to, another reason why I need to lessen the idea, because, Sherry will go off about, different things, from tax law to the way the business runs to, clients, you name it. She's just venting.
Right.
She doesn't want me to fix it. She doesn't expect me to fix it. I don't even know how I would fix it. But the idea is, well, I feel bad for her feeling bad. So I'm going to, and I put this in air quotes, fix it.
Right.
So that way, suddenly now I don't have to feel bad because she's feeling bad. I've now, I've lifted your mood, so now I feel better about myself.
I saved the day.
Yes. And so as I'm reading this, and the concept of time, are we creating problems by our attempts to fix. And so that's why I thought, well, we could do it. And
Yeah, I think we do run into it, especially if you don't know and you try and insert yourself into a situation and come in like trying to be the hero. You could potentially make things worse. What'd you do?
I don't know. All right, so here's the thing.
Here. We have a wound on set. Don't bleed on my carpet.
I ain't on bleeding on your carpet. Shut up. All right, so here's the thing that Goodman was saying. All right, that we do have options. We have alternatives to try and help combat our toxic positivity.
Okay.
And I thought it was kind of interesting. Again, I like the term toxic positivity because are we as teachers sometimes too happy? Are we portraying too much positive? Maybe that sounds probably crazy to say too much positivity, right. But are we, in our attempts to be happy and joyful and woohoo kind of mentality, are we overlooking some of the issues of our students? Am I doing that in, my relationships with all the different people I know, instead of just letting them vent, just letting them share their thoughts and kind of visiting about them? Am I trying too hard to inject that catchphrase?
Right.
And so, and that, yes, we've talked about this before. And so when I saw this, I thought, what a great way to kind of double down, so to speak, on how we talk to each other. And so here's what Goodman is saying. All right. That if we don't feel pain, we will experience dangerous, or what she calls injuries, on a daily basis. I remember in our divorce group, the lady that ran at Lou for many years, she would say, don't give them the Kleenex right away. She said, and it kind of fits into this, she would say, let them just cry. Kleenex. Why? Well, Lou would say, the crying makes the people in the group uncomfortable. But in truth, the person that is sharing their story and sharing these deep inner emotions, they need to let those inner emotions out, and crying is a way. So if you give them a Kleenex, they stop crying right away. So let them cry it out. Now after, 60 seconds, hand them the Kleenex.
Right.
But don't, as soon as the first tear comes, don't run them over a Kleenex. And like I say, people within the group got very offended at that.
Really?
And I thought, at first I agreed with the people within the group, but then watching, I better understood the value of letting folks go ahead and cry it out. And so that way, so again, you're dealing with those painful emotions.
Right.
Once you've been able to process that, you might be more open to making different changes, potentially healthy changes. And so, I don't know. Again, it was very interesting.
Yeah.
So, do you want to hear what they suggest?
Sure. I was gonna make a smart ass remark, but
really,
I'll let you go.
Okay.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Well, I was thinking, never mind. All right. So I was going to have a witty retort, but it wouldn't be very polite. All right. So here's the thing. This is what they are suggesting.
Okay.
That when you notice somebody having, or even within yourself, if these negative emotions that begin to manifest themselves either in you or in people that you are talking to, well, first of all, acknowledge it. Okay? Name the feeling. Name the sensation. What are you feeling?
Okay.
and then validate it. Simply by recognizing, okay, hey, look, I see that you're in pain. It's okay to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not wrong to feel that way. You're validating. Then you sit with it. And they call it creating a space to feel the feeling without judgment. But basically, let's sit and let's talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I liked about the divorce group, is that you're in a judgment-free zone.
Right.
We're all here. Been there, done that, got the T-shirt to prove it. But nobody's judging you.
Mm-hmm.
They're listening to you, and they're doing this. They're helping you acknowledge your feelings. They're helping validate your feelings. And then the last thing that is suggested here is to expand it.
Okay.
That ask questions. If it's you that's feeling these emotions, ask yourself, some of these whys, the why questions. Why are you feeling this? What made you feel this way? What happened that made you feel this way? And if it's for somebody else, same thing.
Right.
Ask these kinds of questions. Encourage them to, let's dig deeper. Let's kind of explore what's causing these emotions.
Yeah.
And, within ourselves, I find I can do that really quick. Well, mostly because it's a conversation between two smart people.
Who?
Okay. Anyway, so again, I like that.
Rolling my eyes.
So
yeah, no, I do. I like that. That's something that we kind of teach on. I know we've talked on it several times. I took a crisis class last year. Some of these same situations when someone, those four things. If I'm right, you said acknowledge, validate, sit with it, and expand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm a good listener.
You are a good listener.
Again, acknowledge the fact that and I know we've said this before, but repeat back. That way that person knows, wow, they're really listening to me. And then that opens up more doors so that when you come to the expand part, you could get to, you get way beyond that surface level and you've really dug deep now. You've earned the right to ask those questions because they know that you care and they know that you listen. And so that's good. That's good stuff right there.
Well, if I could relate to it. And I've been trying over the last couple of years to be more listening to my students, more engaged with them, and as well with my coworkers, my friends, in essence, to kind of practice many of these things. And to try and, again, I guess at the end of the day, help them feel better.
Right.
But in a, so here's a go. They got some examples.
Okay.
All right. So for example, you didn't get a job you wanted. All right. Let's say that, you're looking for a new job, new school, new position, whatever. Okay. So you don't get it. What do you want me to say? I mean, in your heart, you're going,
man, I'm so sorry you didn't get that job. How dare they? They don't understand the value that you provide. You want me to keep going? I'm going to keep going, Rod. No, I'm just, right.
You want me to be on your side, bashing.
I want you on my corner.
Okay.
In my corner. Yep.
Okay, fair enough. Now, what you don't want me to say is, well, you know what? That was probably God's will.
Right.
You don't want me to tell you that, well, you probably didn't get it because that wasn't meant for you. There's a better job out there for you. So just keep going, baby. Hey, I'll help you with your interview techniques. Right. All right. So that way, we'll practice more.
Yeah.
Those are the things that, think about it. How many times would people say those kinds of things, especially like a parent figure?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, what they're saying is kind of don't do that. More in the, okay, acknowledge it. I'm feeling sad. You seem to be feeling sad. You're disappointed, maybe a little embarrassed. All right. Maybe a little tired. Okay, this is what and you can say these things. Acknowledge it. All right, valid. Oh, that makes sense. You feel like crap. You feel betrayed. I get it. I understand. You have busted your buns to be able to get that promotion, to get that new job. I get it. I understand those feelings.
Yeah.
They are legitimate for you to feel that way.
Yeah.
And then, sit with it. I'm going to give myself guilt-free permission to wallow in this feeling for today, but for today only. Or maybe for the next few hours. Maybe it happened in the late afternoon. So for the rest of the day, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm just going to eat too dang much ice cream.
Yeah.
Hello, Dairy Queen.
That sounds good.
On the way to Dairy Queen, I'm going to stop by Brahms. And on the way back from Dairy Queen, I'm going to stop by Sonic. You see my point, though? We're gonna overdo it. We're gonna overindulge in things we normally don't, or probably would never would.
Right.
But I'm gonna wallow in a little bit of self-pity. But I'm gonna give it a time limit.
Yeah.
Because you can't stay there. But you can go there. You can visit for a short time. But then let's move forward.
Right.
Okay. But by sitting with it, you're acknowledging that anger, that frustration, that sadness, that disappointment. But it's helping you process it so that way you don't stay there.
Right.
You're not stuck in quicksand and can't get out. And that's
good.
The last thing it says, expand it. Ask yourself, or ask the person, what hurts the most about this disappointment, about the fact you didn't get the job? What hurts the most about that? What do I need to do now to get better? So the next time when I got that next job interview, or I'm applying, whatever it is,
right?
What can I do different?
Yeah.
And so I kind of, as I read these, boom, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I've been there.
Yeah, no, and I have to. I'm sitting here listening, and I'm thinking. Obviously, it's in order. There's order to this, and it obviously makes sense. Like, you name it, you acknowledged it, right? Validate with that person. Giving it a time limit is I think that's huge, because if you don't, then, like you said, a month goes by and you've drinking the poison. And so now you've created bitterness within you, and that's prevented you from moving forward in a more positive direction. But I like that. That happened to me recently, and I won't go into much detail, but I was a little disappointed.
Okay.
And I think I even maybe mentioned that to Suzanne.
Okay.
I'm a little disappointed, But at the end of the day, I don't call the shots. Right. But I know I guess I unconsciously gave it a time limit. Like, I'm not going to, what I don't want to do is, because I've lost so much sleep already this year, I don't want to lose another night's sleep over something that's out of my control. So I was a little disappointed. I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad at the person's decision. And, I went to the expand on it, right? Okay, well, I guess I was a little bummed at this, XYZ. What do I need to do right now? Keep going. Go back to the drawing board. Keep going. Keep expanding your knowledge, your thought life. And that's kind of what I did. And I realized when I reflected back, I'm like, man, that was a day. And I wasn't that mad, but it was a day. Because I realized, like, man, I ain't going to hang on this. Because I know that turns into bitterness.
Oh, absolutely.
And I have no idea on the other end why decisions were made. For me, I needed to honor it. I might not like it, but I need to honor it. I'm going to move on. Because I don't know what's next in store for me. But I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm going to do more than's asked of me, and I'm going to keep serving, and I'm going to keep trying to make impact. But yeah, I think that's, I may have gone off a little bit, but I like the order of it because it makes sense. It's applicable, and it's very valid, and it's really spot on.
Well, when you're able to do these things, and again, I'm not a professional therapist yet. But
Power of yet.
yes, key phrase there. But these are the things that, that we have to, again, think about. It's the stuff that, in my classes and my training, even in the divorce group, we went through a lot of this too. You got to first of all accept it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are accepting it, well, that's the first key thing. You can't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
With divorce stuff, with the divorce group, I see that a lot. Some of the kids, they break up with each other and they'll be in class and then they're kind of melancholy, and every now and then they'll open up, and it's kind of like, well, they don't want to accept that, they broke up with their boyfriend, girlfriend, or more specifically, their boyfriend, girlfriend broke up with them.
Mm.
But once you can accept it, then everything else can go on.
Right.
And, go through the validation, the sitting with it, with a time limit. They didn't say with a time limit, but I think I would.
Yeah.
I would,
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm just going to say for myself or for others, say, okay, let's sit here, but let's not stay here.
I give my permission to be upset or disappointed or sad, embarrassed, fill in the blank for 24 hours, 48 hours. But that's it.
Because if you don't, you stay there, and then you can't get to the last and final stage of expanding it, which says, okay, now let's take an honest look. What was my part? What did I do that maybe led to whatever negative event we're talking about?
Yeah.
And what can I do different so when I'm in another similar situation, I can get a different and hopefully better outcome?
Right. Yeah. To me, that screams reflection.
Yes.
And that to me also, that leads to a better sense of self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing too is, backing up to your sitting with it while giving, I give myself permission to be upset, whatever, for X amount of time, prevents you from a podcast we did a couple week or so ago
Months
from
ago?
being
Okay.
stuck in park.
Oh, yes.
Prevents
yes,
you
yes.
from being stuck in park. And I
Yes.
think that's that bitterness and being stuck on that one situation
man,
that
you're
you didn't
slamming that
like,
shifter into
and
park.
you're in park for next thing you know, you turn around, holy crap, it's been a year and I've been stuck in park, and no wonder I haven't moved forward.
And with this, I've seen some of my coworkers feel very frustrated over the last few months, maybe even this entire school year, and they're stuck there.
Yeah.
They are not moving, and they want people to join their side, but they're not willing to figure out, well, what can I do differently?
Right. It's
And-
never my fault. It's not anyone. It's not my issue. Yeah, I think that's probably one of the key, the game changer, if you will, is the expand on it, the reflection piece.
Yeah. Because when you do, then you can process. But again, going back to the original premise, do people allow that? Do we, when talking to other people, do we allow that, or do we try and sugarcoat it? Do we try and, just straighten up and fly right?
Yeah.
It's okay. Hey, you know what? It's just one bad day. But tomorrow's going to be better. Tomorrow's a new day. And in doing so, are we encouraging, because we're trying to put this happy face on it, are we inadvertently helping that person stay in park without allowing them to kind of explore and develop their feelings, which then can allow them to process? So in essence, we've got to be careful.
Yeah, no,
Find
you
a
do.
balance.
Yeah. I think this goes back to another episode, slowing down so that we could be a better person, slowing down so that we could be better for others.
Yeah.
And again, yes, you're right. I just want to sugarcoat this with you right now, Rod, because I don't want to go any further, because I have other things that I'm doing. And right now it's kind of an inconvenience. That could be an issue.
That's a
and
good
so,
one.
I'm just going to surface level this crap right now and be like, you know what? Tomorrow's a new day, Rod.
Yep.
It's God's will. And so I'm going to move on. So you haven't slowed down enough to say you're a priority to me, Rod.
Yeah.
Our relationship is more important than anything else at this moment. And so I'm going to give you my undivided attention and good, apply these things. But I think we run into not being committed to the inconveniences, especially when it comes to people. You shouldn't be an inconvenience to me. Although sometimes you are. No, I'm serious. But I think, again, we get so wrapped up in busyness and we're going. We don't make time, slow down enough to listen to someone to help them really in need. It's just, oh, I'm sorry, or tomorrow's a new day. Sleep it off. Grow an extra layer of skin. I don't know, fill in the blank, you know. But yeah, this is, how long would this take?
I don't think very long.
Not long enough, or not long at all.
20 minutes maybe? But again, you brought up a good point. Are we saying these things to placate ourselves, make ourselves feel better? Because, well, I tried. They just didn't listen. Well, did you really try? And so, again, we've got to, it brings up a variety of cautionary tales for us to think about and consider when we're talking to people. Where are we? Are we in the moment? Are we in a hurry? Are we trying to make ourselves feel better by saying simple catchphrases? Because at the end of the day, whether it's our own individual emotions or it's somebody else's, we need to stop and listen to whatever they're expressing and whatever they're feeling or we are feeling.
Yeah. You know, that makes me think about, I think it's the last chapter in my book, Initiate and Invest. This right here is investing into that relationship. I'm making time to invest into you. And, you know, I think we often, again, with being so busy and not being mindful and present, I think Officer Terry mentioned that too about being present. And I'll say it this way, being where your feet are. Right now, you and I are doing a podcast. We know why we're doing it. Now, it's a little bit different of a situation. If you were here venting to me or something, I could easily look at my phone or have my phone out and visible like it is right now, and that's going to cause a distraction. So to practice being present, you shouldn't have anything out. Don't have your cell phone. Nothing else exists. I mean, you could have your phone out right now.
Oh, really? Because it's on the floor.
Well, but that's something that I've learned, because even if it's in your hand, it still signals. They're attached to their phone right now. That phone's important. I get that, but it's also signaling that my phone's a little bit more important. You could disagree all you want, but the fact is, and we know what cell phones have done to our society.
Oh, that's a whole nother story.
So put it away. Put it in your pocket. Be present, because you have 10 minutes or whatever, 15 minutes to give to that person. Don't worry about what you're doing tonight for dinner, because you're not there yet. Be where your feet are.
Be mindful. Be in the moment.
Yeah. So anyways, I just was going to add some things. When you're having these conversations, make sure your phones are away. Make sure you don't have a TV on. Make sure you're looking at the person. You make sure you repeat back things to that person, because when you do that, they know that you are listening and that you care, and that you know that you are, that person is better for having that conversation with you. They're better for having met you, if you will, or for, again, having that conversation with you at that moment. And that's what we should all strive to do. Are we leaving people better when we found them?
I hope so.
That's what we're trying to do.
All right. Well, then how about we wrap this up and say goodbye?
I mean, I guess we can.
And maybe they're better off for having listened to us for the last 45 minutes.
I hope so.
And maybe
that's our mission.
We'll come back and do it all over again.
Yay.
All right. Well, then until next time, my friend, I'm Rod.
I'm Bryce. Goodbye.
Ciao.